welcome to another episode of Get It Girl. This is Quarantine Edition. Today I have an amazing actress and protagonist for Love Is Not Love, Alejandra Gollas. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I'm super excited.
Yes, I'm super excited to hear about you, about your journey. I know that you started in telenovelas, which
I
let me
did.
tell you, it's my little secret dream that I have. I'm like, one day I want to come out in a telenovela.
That's so exciting. They're a lot of fun.
Quinceañera, correct?
Yeah, that's when I started. That was a long time ago. I started I was in quinceañera when I was 10 years old at the time. And it was a wonderful experience. It gave me, obviously, what telenovelas do is they, make your career huge. Obviously, they're huge in Latin America and in Mexico specifically. So it did. It was a huge step for me to be in one of those soap operas, and especially Quinceañera, which was such a revolutionary kind of soap opera. It talked about a lot of things, women's issues and growing up. And so it was really important, I think, at the time.
And was that show the beginning of your inspiration to become an actress? Was that kind of the start to your thoughts of, I want to be an actress now?
Actually, no. I started when I was 5 years old. I started doing commercials. And that's how, I was super young. My mom was an actress at the time, and she had a friend, and she said, oh, she's so cute, take her to audition and stuff like that. All of this was in Mexico. So I got into one of these commercials, and I think at that age, what I remember, emotionally, is that I said at that age, I realized that what I wanted to do was act and be in front of a camera. So I did a lot of theater, and then, then came film, which is what I found to be like what I love the most.
That's amazing. So your journey started so young.
Very young. Yeah.
Do you have anybody else in your family that inspired you to do the acting?
So yeah, my mom was an actress. She's a singer too, and she was in it, but not with, the intensity that I dedicated to it. It's as you know, it's a rough journey. So it's not one of these careers that have to do only with talent, but most of it has to do with who you know and where you're at the right time and doing, the right stuff, and you're right for the part. And so it's a pretty intense up and down kind of career.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. And you're right. It definitely is people that you know. And I think with any career, if you want to get to the top, it really does matter how kind you are to people, because meeting the right people at the right time, at the right place is really how everything happens. Things happen by chance.
I think so.
I'm on this amazing television. I'm like, by chance, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. But it's always my goal, or my intention when I work with anybody, is to just be kind and just give my best and be humble. And I think that works for all industries, right? Wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. And I remember very early on when I started doing soap operas and all that, the advice from like the older generation and all these actors who had been, in it forever, Julieta Gurrola, who was, in the soap opera, and all these huge, stars in Mexico, how it was so important to be nice to the makeup artist, to the gaffer, to everyone. They're in charge of making you look good, and they have an important job. I mean, film definitely is a team work, right? But television in general, I mean, it doesn't happen if all those credits that you see at the end. It's like, yes, all these people, it took all these people to make this amazing, work come out. I mean, our face is in front of the camera, but it's not, us only.
Yeah, it really does take a whole team, to put an amazing project together. I mean, I know that I'm not the only one shooting this, Get It Girl, the crew, everyone's taking care of all the editing and the lighting. And, I think it's just important for all of us to do our part and, to know our role, and to understand that the teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Yes. And it is true, especially in film.
Now, I want to hear a little bit about this this movement of love is not love. How did you get involved? What is it? It's still kind of, for people that have never heard of it. Tell us about it.
So I met Stephen Mills, who is the director and the protagonist. He's the story revolves around an older man who is questioning what love is during the whole movie. And he's been in a marriage for a very long time. And who knows, who knows what love really is and what does it mean to be in a relationship. And I think that's why it's so important. I mean, the movie is about, this older man, but it really touches all of us who are in a relationship, who are not, who want to be, who are just beginning to fall in love, because it does question, all these, like, what does it mean to be in a relationship? What does it mean to really be loved? I met Stephen, who's the director, Stephen Mills, a while ago. We're very good friends. We met at a short that he cast me for. It was called Liminal, which is a totally different kind of a project. But we met there. It was a very independent, experimental kind of short, but it was done in black and white too. He loves black and white. And he called me and he said, I have this part for you. And it was pretty amazing to hear that he had written a part for me that had nothing to do with what I had done before in my life. Like I've played, the friend, the young girl, the kind of interesting but kind of weird friend who has psychological problems, and all these character actors and parts that I had played before. And then suddenly he came with this role, which was very different, which was she is Reina, is a very sexual woman. She is an escort. And I was like, really? You want me to play this? And he believed in me. He wanted me to play the part. And I think he saw in me, I think there are a lot of things that, you can build around a character, but there's an essence that I guess he wanted in the character, which I guess he thought I had. Because Reina, besides being an escort and being very sexual, is a very needy person who is trying to figure out her place in the world and why she's doing what she's doing, and if she does or not feel comfortable. And problems that are very relatable to a lot of women, right? To kind of, figure out.
I agree. No, I agree. I think all of us, women and men, we're all trying to figure out what is our purpose. Why are we here? Why do we do what we do?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I think that a lot of us are trying to wake up to. And sometimes hard situations, at least in my experience, painful situations kind of shake me up and open up my eyes to wake up, but I think the universe is always for us, the universe or God, whatever it is that people believe in. But I think that higher power is always trying to help us grow, trying to help us wake up. And the nice thing is that it never gives up on us. It will continue to give us the same test over and over and over.
Did you learn? Do you understand? No.
And looking at it in life is like, there are no mistakes. Our mistakes are also calculated. Our purpose and finding our purpose and finding ourselves. So I think lots of people, that's something that I share with a lot of my community, is just, there are no mistakes, So I work in fitness, Curvy Girls Fitness, and I tell all women that you have to love your body right now. Your body is perfect. It's made in the image of God, and we can always improve. But I think it's important for us to start with a place of self-love and acceptance. And in that positive vibration, we start to have more things revealed to us, and we start to learn things about ourselves, which is, a lot of it we learn in relationships, like you're talking about with this movie, love.
Yeah.
It's, I know that that's been my quest, is to figure out what love is and what love is not. And I think that every person that we either date, or our friends, or our parents, even, everyone's got a mirror to show us, how we really love ourselves. So the reflection is really how we are with other people, is the way we treat ourselves.
exactly.
And I'm really excited to see this film. And he also decided to go black and white.
He did. It's a very...
that reason. What do you think? Was it just to give it the extra effect, or why did he go
Well,
black and white?
it's a story that focuses very much on the relationship and the characters. So I think he was trying to move all the color or distractions that could make you not focus on that. So the film is very intimate in a lot of ways. There are parts that are in New York City, happening in New York City, which are not very intimate. But I think it makes you, I mean, you forget that you're, watching a black and white movie. But the photography is amazing. And I think that it does make you concentrate more on the story and what the characters are going through. And it gives it this old kind of feel. Their relationship, especially the one with Reina and Steve's character, it is kind of not an old relationship, but it's like they're getting born again in some way. I don't know. It's a pretty interesting thing. You have to watch it because
yes,
it's unfortunately, the movie does not answer the questions.
Oh,
so
really?
it leaves everything open. So it's kind of like you have to kind of figure out on your own what exactly, you need. And I was listening to it, the other day on a show that they said a mother was telling a daughter, two people complement each other because they're, two halves. But at the same time, that half has to be complete in order to be able to be with the other one. And the characters are not complete. And the characters are missing a lot of stuff, and they need to figure out a lot of stuff on their own. And I think sometimes, when we go into a relationship, we haven't figured out our stuff first, right? In order to be able to go into a relationship. I've been married for 20 years, very happily married. So we've been together for a really long time, and it requires patience and love and dedication, especially when you have kids. Like, how do we spend time together? How do we dedicate, and we do a lot of that. We really focus on our relationship. We didn't just become parents, once we had kids. So.
And did you feel like in your journey of marriage, you had the revival, like the new love, like it kind of fades away and then it kind of comes out again? Because it sounds like this movie, you're saying there's like almost like a born again love.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of the way love is in marriages. Like, is it just constantly revived? Like it's a new kind of love. Like when I first met, the person I loved, it's different than 10 years down the line, right?
Of course. Yeah. And you have to kind of accept it. It's not going to be highs all the time. I think for me, my love has grown much more with my husband along the way than when we first met. I mean, it's so strong right now, and the person and he knows you, and there's a sense of community, and, everyone is talking about what this pandemic has done, to couples and living together who were maybe not living together, and now they're living together, and all these things, and it's definitely been intense, but I'm very happy that we're together and that we're living this together, so.
Yeah. And speaking of coronavirus and everything, I mean, what do you think? How has your time been during quarantine? How have you been occupying your time? Obviously, it sounds like your relationship is good because yes, I know a couple people already that are like filing for divorce the second they can move out of their house. But how is quarantine for you?
Hard, very hard. I have 2 young kids. They're both boys. They require a lot. They're very young. So I'm a working mom. Besides being an actress, I do voiceovers. I have my home studio, which requires absolute silence. And it is very hard for a 6 and a 10-year-old to understand that they cannot be talking. And so it's been really rough. I mean, it's kind of been, I definitely realize that I'm a better mom when I am working. So I can't just like say, first of all, we need the money, but the other part is that I become a better person, a better partner, a better mom when I am working. I love what I do, and I need to give myself time, just like we were saying, giving yourself time as, with your partner especially when you become parents, I think as women, we have to give ourselves that time. And it's so easy to lose yourself. And especially now, you know, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm, you know, earning money, a professional. I mean, it's, oh my gosh, like women, really, it's been really hard, I think, especially on women, to kind of navigate. How do we do this? How do we balance life?
Has it been a time of reinvention or reflection for you?
I think both. I think I've accepted the fact that I'm in this. I mean, there's a lot of accepting that things are not going to be perfect, that my kids are here 24/7, that they want to eat all day and play, and their stuff is all over the place, you know, that I can't go out with my husband and have our dates. We used to have like twice a week. We used to have dates, and we had a nanny, and there's so many things that have been taken away from us, you know, and it's not the material stuff. It's like that, especially when you have kids, that time away from your kids is super important to kind of regroup. And that's my advice to all parents. When we go back, you know, it's amazing how many of my friends who are, you know, young couples and stuff, they're like, oh, we haven't had a date in I don't know how long. And I'm like, what? Like, you really need to protect and concentrate on your relationship, because if you don't have that, you know, time flies, and then you're like, who is this person sleeping next to me? Like, I have no idea.
I know. And I've seen those type of relationships where if you're not watering the love, it does very, very, I mean, it's almost magic, because you think it happened overnight, but it's through over time of just
Yep.
not watering the love and not, you know, taking time to be with each other and talking and,
Yes.
you know, just cuddling, you know, it doesn't
Yep.
have to be sex, even though sex
No.
is very important.
Yes.
But,
No, it is.
you
It
know,
is. But yeah.
cuddling and talking, I think, is so important for us to feed what love, you know, that's part of what love is. And I think, you know, when people watch this movie, I'm sure they'll get their own perception of what love is and what love is not.
Yeah. Well, here, there's like that point of view, right? Of a couple who's been together for a really long time. You know, they're older. Like, what does that mean? And what does it mean to be married with someone? And what bonds you to them, and what connects you, and what, I don't know. You know, it's really hard. And I think, you know, then this new love comes, you know, and it looks like it could all work out. And what does it really mean?
I know. And a lot of times it's the new love is just, you know, it fizzles out. So, you know, if you don't, and I mean new love with other people, because some people, they want to work at their love with their person because it's been 10, 20 years.
Yes.
I think this new love, and you see it all the time with affairs, you know, people will leave and think, oh, this is, the grass is greener. And then they realize they're so much more miserable because this was just like it was like the cheat meal that you wanted. You know, I know when I have pizza, it's like, oh, that's going to taste so good. But then I have it and I feel sick to my stomach and I can't go to the bathroom later because it constipated me. Like, it's all these, you know, hidden things. It's so betraying. So I think it's important to choose healthy love, just like we should choose healthy food.
Yes.
And and like you said, during this quarantine time is a great time for a lot of people to reinvent themselves, reflect. I've done a lot of reflection. At the beginning, it was a lot of reflection. And then I moved into reinventing myself, you know, with my body, with my food. And so it's a great time for lots of you girls watching the show to invent yourself, you know, start something new. You have all the time in the world now.
Yes. It's hard. I mean, when you're alone, it's definitely, you know, I think one of the things that have affected me the most during this pandemic has been, you know, not having my space. You know, when you're a creative person and you need to think in order to create, like sometimes I can't even hear my own thoughts, you know, when you have kids. And I need to give you know, I have to still, I'm in the search of like, how can I do this? How can I be a good mom and then be able to find my own way too? And that's a journey, because it's so social too. I mean, you become a mom and suddenly you're this, I don't know, this saint, you know, who gives everything, you know, is totally selfless. I mean, it's like,
and that's unhealthy. That's really unhealthy. I've trained a lot of moms my whole career. I do a lot of life coaching now with them. And
yes,
the ones that are always sad, depressed are the ones that lose themselves, the ones that stop focusing on themselves, they stop exercising, they stop, taking the time to do whatever it is that they love. It may be hiking, it may be painting, but it's important to feed our own soul, because that way we can give to our husband, to our kids, and it's important for us women to take that time. But I know with our cultura, moms in the past,
especially,
mom gave up everything. She was a dancer before she had us. She was fit, and then she had 3 kids, and it was like, that's it. You can't do anything. And my mom, she sacrificed a lot of her, hobbies, and to this day, I'm so grateful for my mom, because she taught me to go after what I love. She supported my YouTube channel when I first started, and my dad was like, no, ya cásate, get an office job. And my mom was like, you can do whatever it is that you want, honey. And that was honestly what kept me going. And it's why I'm now telling other girls to go get it, girl, get it.
Yes. No, and it's so important. And you sometimes have to rebel against, these people, as you said, your father, and, society, and especially Latin American society, is even harder on women, you know.
Absolutely.
There's very little support.
Proud to be a rebel. Sorry about
Yes, it is. And we have to break that mold and say, it doesn't mean I'm a bad mom, because I dedicate time to myself and my career, and, and it's not black and white. I mean, there is a balance, and there is a way to do it.
Thank you so much, Alejandra, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys will tune in to the next part of the segment, which is going to be with Maria. She is interviewing the cast of Work It. So check it out, and remember to wear a mask and be safe.